Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers and welcome to the first episode, if that isn't too much of a big word, of our first ever mini-series. So I've challenged each of the Run Testers to come up with 4 items from their current running kit that they absolutely won't run without. Now these are those running essentials that you'll search the house high and low for. They're the kinds of things that if you find them in the washing basket, you might even consider putting them on dirty. They're that comfortable and they make you feel that good when you're running. Now they're also the sort of items that you might consider buying in bulk, just in case the manufacturers or the brands decide to discontinue them or change the design, which is one thing which is a huge bugbear that we hate. So you love these things so much that you might buy 10 of them and stick them in the drawer so they'll last you for the next 5 years. And first up, we are going to be talking to Tom. So Tom, welcome. You're first in the hot seat. Have you chosen your 4 bits of kit?
I have indeed. I've been through my big piles of running stuff, and I've picked out the 4 things I really like.
So how hard was the decision? Was it tough, or have you always got 4 things that you'll use every single time?
It was quite tough because I use a lot of running kit, but these 4 things that I've chosen are pretty much things I've been using for a long time and just consistently, and I've never really even thought about it. So it was quite a tricky question when you actually posed it, but yeah, I've finally picked 4.
So I guess one of the things is we're in quite a privileged position here as the run testers and journalists who write about running gear. We get new stuff in quite often. Are these 4 items things that, even though you've got all that new kit piling in, that they haven't really been replaced?
Yes. So these 4 things are. I mean, some of them are quite old. I've had them for a long time, and I've been given other kit to wear, and it just hasn't made the cut. So yeah, a lot of these things are things that I've bought years and years ago, and I'm just still using.
And I'm really fascinated to see, over the course of these 4 videos, each of the run testers is going to do one of these. I'm really fascinated to see whether or not the kit that we choose reflects the kind of runner we are, how we use them, and if we find any of the same items or we're all picking different things. I'm pretty sure Nick's going to go for a headband, right?
It's a fairly safe bet. Either a headband or a cap that looks like a headband.
Nick a headband, Mike a vest. You've heard it here. I'll bet you a £5 on those 2 items. Okay, so without further ado then, Tom, let's see what you've picked for your first bit of kit.
Okay, let me delve into my pile. So the first bit of kit I've chosen is the On lightweight running cap.
Okay, and then so for men of a certain haircut, like a running cap is pretty much an essential. But why is this one the cap of all caps for you?
I'm a big cap fan normally. Even when I had hair, I was pretty keen on them. And I've tried quite a few running caps over the years. And there's only really been a couple that I've actually liked. A lot of them don't really size very well. The On running cap is just a really nice cap that it looks like a normal cap. It doesn't look like some kind of weird, light, not very fashionable running cap that I've often had.
So does it fare up? Is it like an all year cap that you can wear all round, like summer, winter, all of those things?
Yeah, I wear it pretty much all the time. So it's pretty lightweight. It's made of a really thin material. It's vented, but it's just a really nice thing to wear. Even if it's raining, it's nice to have a cap on, and it does the job because it just dries so quickly. So it just looks great. It feels really nice. You don't really notice it on your head. I tend to wear it backwards, so I've got a nice little bit of breathability and air coming through the front as I'm sweating. But yeah, it's just a great all-round cap that just is by far the best I've ever used.
And when it comes to kind of winter running, are you a cap over a woolly hat kind of runner then?
No, I get far too hot to wear a woolly hat when I go running. I'll put it on when I leave the house and realise within about 300 metres that I don't need it anymore. So a cap, it works far better for me because it just offers a little bit of protection, but I'm not sweating by the third road.
And then obviously in the summer it offers protection from the sun as well. If you've not got so much hair up there for protection, you need something else, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much essential for me to wear a cap in the summer. I was a ginger a while ago, so I do burn quite easily. So I use this especially for races and stuff like that, where I'm out there for maybe 2 hours, and even if you have got some tan lotion on, it's going to wear off over that period. So having a cap is just really, really important. And if you're racing, you're running fast, you're getting really hot. You want something that's not going to annoy you the whole way. And I've worn cats before where I'm constantly adjusting them, sweat dripping down. It's not really doing anything. Whereas this, it's just lightweight, fits on the head nicely, and you don't really notice it. So it just works really well for, when it is hot and sunny.
So is it actually adjustable in the front? Is it what kind of attachments has it got at the front? Because I noticed it's a one size fits all unisex jobby, right?
Yeah. So the only actual modification you can make is through this light little plastic buckle at the back. So you can tighten up the top. The thing about the hat is that a lot of running hats you'll find that they're quite there's not a lot of depth to them, so they just kind of fit on their head, and you can't really pull them down. But whereas this one, there's quite a lot to it. That it looks like a normal cap where there's space that sits in the top. So once you've got it on, you can put it down quite a bit and then tighten it up. So it just always has that nice kind of figure hugging design that just feels really nicely in place, as opposed to something that sits at the top and you can't really modify it.
Nice. And what colours does it come in?
There's 4 colours: black, navy blue, white, and I can't remember the other one. But they're all quite subtle colours. So they're nice, fit with everything. They're not like bright neon or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, On has a tendency to do nice kind of stylish gear, doesn't it? So this is part of their wardrobe.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's from On is probably why it is so nicely designed for fashion as well as running. But no, it just looks great. I wear this. I'm happy to wear this walking down to the shops and stuff, as opposed to some of the other running hats which I would only ever wear if I'm out running.
And Gordon, then hit us up. How much is it going to set someone back if they wanted to join you with this hat in their running essentials?
It's not cheap, but it'll last you a long time. It starts at around £32. I think there's a slight difference on some of the colour versions, but it's gonna set you back about £30.
And actually, that's a question. You said it's going to last you a long time. Some of the hats that I wear, they have a tendency to kind of get sort of ruined on the rim, or if you wear them a lot and sweat in them a lot, they sort of wear very, very quickly. How long have you had this one for? How many miles have you put in, and how's it faring?
Well, I've had it for about a year. Miles-wise, Christ, that could be... I mean, there's going to be a lot in that. Hundreds and hundreds of miles over the past year that I've done in it. And yeah, it looks pretty much like it did when I got it. I found that... The one thing I have found with this is that I had 2 pairs. I had 2 of these hats, and I accidentally washed one on a normal washing machine setting, and it kind of melted bits of it. So I've only got one left. So the best thing to do with these is stick them under the tap, rinse them after you've been for a run. I mean, you don't want to wash things constantly anyway, but these works really well. If you just stick it under the tap, rinse it, stick it on the sink to dry, dries within a few hours, ready for the next day. And I've never had any issues with it feeling like odours or anything coming off of it. So it's just this material just dries really quickly and doesn't really hold dirt or anything like that.
So item number 1, the On running cap. Moving on to item number 2. What's next, Tom? What have you got next for us?
Okay, my second item, and it's a big one. This is probably the easiest one for me to have picked out of the whole pile. It's the Fitletic Ultimate 2 running belt.
So I guess my big question here is, I guess there are some runners who are running belt runners. There are some runners who aren't. So you're not a split shorts and vest kind of Nick style runner, totally minimal. You run and carry stuff, right?
Yeah, I carry a lot of stuff when I go running. I'm happy to have extra weight on me. I'm not worried about shaving off 1.2 seconds by not carrying a running belt. And
what's in your sort of items that you carry and you have to get into that belt? What actually capacity can that hold? What stuff will fit?
Well, when I go out, when I first started running, which is I didn't get this when I first started running, but I got this quite early on. And it was at a point where I was carrying a phone instead of a running watch. Always had my keys on me, always had my wallet and all this kind of stuff on me running home from work. So I didn't want to wear a backpack all the time to run in, but I needed something that was big enough to carry quite a bit of stuff, really. And for some reason, I always have massive keys as well. So I can't just stick them in a pocket. They kind of bang around quite a bit. So yeah, I need a lot of stuff when I go running. And I also like to, when I do races, I don't like to take a bag. I'd rather just turn up at the race ready to go, not have to go into the baggage drop. So I need to have my phone, I need to have my keys, I need to have my Oyster card, all that kind of stuff held on me, and I actually have to run in it. So I always use this I've used this for all my marathons.
There's something really nice about being that kind of self-sufficient, isn't there? Turning up to a race, not having to bother with the stress of bag drop, and knowing at the end you can just kind of wander off and
It makes
get straight on the train or do whatever. It's a nice feeling.
makes such a big difference, and especially if you're somewhere like a big marathon like London or New York Marathon, where the actual end bit, you've just done a marathon, you really don't want to go through the process of queuing up and trying to find things. Just get out there straight away, you're done. Thanks, got my medal. And that's why I've got a fairly big waist pack.
And can you tell us, will it fit any size of phone in there? What kind of phone have you got and you're using with it?
I've got a Pixel 3A, which I'm actually filming on, so I can't use it for comparison. But it's way bigger than that. It's probably going to hold pretty much anything up until like something like the Galaxy Note or anything. Still have a lot of space in it when I'm carrying my phone in it.
And can you just talk us through what kind of pockets it's got? It's like a gel belt and a phone carry. Are there other places to stash keys and whatnot separate from your phone so they don't scratch your screen?
Yeah, there's one main pocket in here which has got kind of a secondary slip in it. I don't really care about that. I'm not really that proud of my phone, so I just stick anything in there. But there is this kind of secondary pocket, or two secondary pockets that you can put stuff in there. There's also it has these kind of side Velcro bits here. I don't use them very often, but I do use them for long trail runs where I might carry some not like energy sweets, things like that. I stick a review in there, and then I can get to them easily without having to open up and like my phone and keys falling out. There's also gel loops in here for, I don't use gels, but yeah, you can stick a couple of gels in here. I think that's it really for storage. There's lots of little like loops and stuff in here which you could use for anything really. I think there's actually this is for a bib, holding a bib as well, maybe for triathlons.
Yeah.
I don't use it, but it's fairly modifiable. So all those things that you can do with it, I'm sure you could use them for other things as well, if you wanted to, if you had a need. And I also actually use it for my GoPro on my tripod, because there's these slips. I can slip it in there and go running with it, and it's fine. It doesn't bang around.
And presumably it's good for regular day-to-day running, like shorter runs, and also will take you over a marathon and longer distances as well.
Yeah, I mean, I use this with quite a lot of stuff in. So I've probably got, I don't know, with my phone and keys and everything like that. That's a pretty weighty chunk of stuff to carry around. But it's quite easily to strap up quite tightly. And once it's strapped up tightly, I don't even notice it. So even during a marathon, it's not an issue for me at all. It just sits quite nicely on the top of the back. For daily running, just with your phone and a key and a bank card, it's really good. It's just, you don't even notice it on. Sometimes I'll sit down in the front room and forget that I'm still wearing this weight strap. So yeah, it's really comfy. It's quite a big piece of kit, and it's actually quite heavy without anything in. But because it's strapped so nicely, it's not that noticeable.
And again, on that one, how much are we going to have to pay for the pleasure of running with that?
So this one is, I think it's a minimum. I think it starts in the UK at around £25. I'm not for like $30 in the US, around that. You can get it from various different sellers at the moment, but it's quite an old one as well. So I got this about 5 years ago, I think, and I've been using it consistently ever since. But they do have a few other Fitletic versions, but this is the kind of the biggest one that holds the most stuff. So
item number 2 done. Moving on to number 3. What's your third pick?
Third pick. Okay, this is another easy one actually. This is a piece of kit that I've had in my collection for 12 years. Not this same one, but this is the Nike Pro Combat running shorts, or training shorts. They're not specifically for running. I'm not gonna wear them now to show you what they look like.
And we're also glad that you clarified those are not the same pair that you've had for 12 years. Although I have some things in my wardrobe that I have actually kept. I've got the same base layer that I've won like 40 marathons in, always worn that one. It's a total mess, but it is my go-to. So these shorts, I guess one of the things, you find a good pair of base layer shorts that work and you kind of never let them go. Have you chosen these for their anti-chafe, or is it just that they're comfortable? And they don't do compression, do they, the Nike Pro Combats?
They're not compression shorts. The reason I got them was because when I started running, I was wearing, I don't know, like Bermuda shorts or something like that, and my thighs were constantly rubbing. I was getting chafage all the time. So I needed something just to kind of stop that. And I didn't know what would work. So I think I just picked these up just because I saw them at the time and thought, oh, I'll give those a go. But I have tried a lot of... I think these are probably about 8 years old, these ones, actually. I've had 2 pairs of these. The other pair either lost or... I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they got a rip in them or something. But these are about 8 years old. And I've tried a lot of compression, base layers over the years for chafage. And these ones are still my favourite. If I'm doing a race, I'll always use these. And they're kind of like my go-to ones, even though I've got a big drawer full of them. But I picked them up to just stop chafing around the thighs. But they just make running a lot more comfortable.
And that's one of the things. I mean, I without going into too much detail, probably here, too much sharing. Before long races, marathons, I will always reach into the Vaseline and cover everything down there with quite a lot of Vaseline. Can you do a marathon in these without having to dip into a pot of petroleum jelly?
Well, I have done. It just depends on the marathon, really. I did one marathon that was really, really hot, and I used these, and I still got a bit of chafage in some quite painful areas. But normally it's fine. I would use these if I was doing a proper marathon, and I wanted to get a good time. I'd use a bit of Vaseline anyway. But don't necessarily have to with these in most cases.
And how much are we talking for a pair of those?
So these are pretty cheap. These are like a Sports Direct special. I picked these up from Sport Direct 10 years ago. The first pair I got 12 years ago. I think they're about £20 at Sports Direct, and they still sell them there as well. They're like the main place that you can buy them. So 20 quid, pretty cheap, and I've probably done, I couldn't even work out, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles in these. Probably not that much, but
and they're still going strong.
They look fine. They're absolutely perfect, and I still use them every time I go out for a run, and I'm doing a race or it's a big run.
Nice. Well, we've got one more pick, and with this pick, I believe we're going to be moving even further down. We're heading down to the feet. What have you got for number 4, Tom?
Okay, so this was a tough one because I'm not the kind of person that really cares about socks. I think I used to run in snowboarding socks for the first couple of years that I was running, just because they felt just comfortable and it filled my shoes up. But over the past few years, obviously, as a run tester, I get a lot of socks. Socks are everywhere for runners. And to be honest, most of the time, it doesn't really make much of a difference to me. I'm not the kind of person that I don't care about the style of socks. And you look at Nick and Mike are absolutely obsessed with having new colours of socks and the latest neon versions. I'm not bothered about that. I just want to.
That's why they get all the good comments, don't they?
Yeah, that's why everyone loves those two. But I'm happy with a pair of black socks. Not bothered at all. But I've got a lot of pairs of socks and from various different brands, but the Stance Field 360s running socks are probably consistently my favourites, and I always kind of go for them. If there's a pile of socks in my drawer, and these are in there, they're probably my first go-to ones. I'd always wear those. And if I'm doing like a big race, I'll probably stick with the Stance ones, just because for me, I've never had any problems with them. They're comfy. They never had any blisters in them. I did an ultra in some Stance socks a couple of weeks ago. No issues at all. Really nice. And I've had them for ages, and they look exactly the same as when I first got them.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, of all the socks, I do this with my kind of regular socks as well. I've probably own about kind of 40 or 50 pairs of socks more, and actually, there's only about 3 of them that I ever pick up.
Yeah.
Well, you always reach for those. So these Stance socks are those ones that, if they're clean, they're going on, right?
Yes. Yeah, I've got a few pairs of them actually, and it's always quite hard to. It's another reason I don't like colourful, exciting socks is because you can never find the other one. If I just had black ones, I'd be fine. But I've got a few pairs actually, so I always go for one of those pairs. My favourite is actually Stance do a lot of different sizes of socks, so you kind of get these more just above the ankle versions. This is a longer sock, more conventional, and then you get actual kind of ones that fit really low on the ankles. I always prefer the longest ones, just because it doesn't matter what pair of shoes you're wearing. If you're wearing an ankle sock and your shoes are slightly higher and they're rubbing against it, so these are just consistently nice. And also, I don't like showing my ankles off when I'm running. It looks like I'm not wearing any socks. Prefer these. Just you've got a nice pair of socks on. They're holding tight, bit of warmth if you need it. Not that I ever really need it. But yeah, my favourite one. And the price isn't that different.
You have got ugly ankles, Tom. They are a thing that shouldn't be shown.
A lot of people have commented on that, and it's the main reason that I haven't filmed myself in these for this video. I might get Mike or Nick to do it, to the shots of the socks.
I'm hoping as I say this now, we're going to cover this with a shot of one of your ankles, one in a sock and one not in a sock, and we'll let the people decide should Tom's ankles be seen out in public. It's an important thing actually that the Achilles point is a really good point. There is nothing worse than going out in a new pair of shoes or a different pair of shoes, or actually sometimes I've even had it with the same pair of shoes, and all of a sudden out of nowhere that sort of the high back starts to cut into your Achilles. It's the most painful thing, and it can stop you running for a few days after if it's really savage. And on an ultra, that's a nightmare.
Oh, that's a good point. And the other thing you can do, if you've got a little bit of extra cloth on your sock, and that happens, even on a long one, you can roll the sock down to give it a bit more protection around that. I've done that before where, I mean, we try a lot of new shoes and sometimes the shoes don't quite work for me in terms of the ankle collar. But you can roll these down and give it a bit more padding if you want, whereas you don't have a lot of movement with the shorter socks.
So there you have it. Item number 4, the stance socks. How much are those going to set you back? I know there's kind of a range, but the ones that you've chosen, the Feel 360s, how much are they? Yeah,
so you can pick up stance socks. They normally start around £12-15, go a bit higher, and they've got quite a big range that you can buy.
And you're paying for a little bit of style and the comfort there with stance. You can make a statement with them, right?
Yeah, I mean, that stance probably got more styles than any sock company out there. For me, I'm happy with just a nice black pair of socks, but you can get all sorts of things. Star Wars, I think they've got a Friends designed pair out now. So lots of options that you can get. Great for Christmas presents.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for sharing, Tom. It's been fascinating to look into your running wardrobe, find out what you use all the time. I can't wait to share with mine. Mine's very different to what you've selected, but yeah, some really good items on there. And I think they're all tried and tested. We wanted to share them because these are the bits of kit that we sort of turn to time and time again. Every runner's different, but there might be some things here that you guys out there can have a look at, choose and adopt them into your own running wardrobe. So thanks a lot, Tom.
Well, thank you.
So there you have it. Those are Tom's top picks from his own running stash. Next up, we're going to be talking to Nick and Mike to find out what running essentials they never lace up without. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get to see when those episodes land. But we also really want to hear, what are the items that you have in your essential running kit? What are those things that you go foraging through the laundry box to find to wear all the time? What are the things actually that you'll wander around the house and won't leave? You know, those items that make you procrastinate, or at least give you the excuse to procrastinate before you go and run. We want to hear what they are. Hit us up in the comments below and tell us. Thanks for listening. We have been the Run Testers. I've been Kieran, and we hope to see you again soon.